In the beginning, the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God was moving over the waters. We who live on this blue planet are made of water.
Newborn infants are made of 78% water, and adults are approximately 60% water. Every creature that walks, flies, crawls, or swims on this planet must have water. An adult human can go about 1 month without food, but less than 1 week without water. Unfortunately, more than 1 billion people in this world have no access to clean water, and over 2 million people, mostly children, die each year from waterborne or water-created diseases. In the East African nation of Uganda, clean water pours from the skies, and yet the children still die from lack of drinking water. Uganda is a small nation, situated along the Great Rift Valley of Africa. It is a land with a plentiful seasonal supply of water. The River Nile is born here and begins its long journey to the sea. Lake Victoria, the second largest lake in the entire world, is situated here in Uganda. God has so blessed this land that it has been called the Pearl of Africa. But despite these blessings, for the peasant farmers of Uganda, there is still no clean drinking water. In 2001, an organization called Encounter Uganda began to take a close look at this water problem. Encounter Uganda was founded in 1999 with a long-term commitment to the Bunyoro Kitara region of Uganda. Helping to solve the drinking water crisis is just one of the mission objectives of Encounter Uganda, and it presents many challenges and a need for a long-term, in-depth commitment.
Many factors have contributed to Uganda's drinking water crisis. The most basic reason is that as the population has grown, towns and villages have outgrown their traditional drinking water sources. With lakes, rivers and streams polluted by an ever-growing population, village women and children will walk miles every day to try and find a clean source of water for their families. The most common sight on any evening in Uganda is to see literally hundreds of children, some as young as 4 or 5, struggling to drag home jerry cans of water. Water that is not fit to drink, water that will poison them and add to Uganda's appalling death toll.
The ideal water source for rural Africans is a well-protected and well-maintained borehole. But unfortunately, such boreholes are few and far between. The cost for drilling a borehole can be as much as $20,000, and very few African peasants will ever see $20,000 in their entire lifetime. And therefore they are forced to continue to draw their water from polluted water sources.
So the name of the game is to reduce the cost of providing clean water in poverty-stricken countries. As you can see, we have a number of techniques that have been developed. The first is the percussion method. This is a long, slow, labor-intensive but inexpensive way of drilling. We rely on the villagers to provide the labor, but it does take a long time and a lot of patience. We have just recently developed the auger method, where we're using a 5-inch auger and enough drive shaft to be able to go down to 100 feet. This is less labor intensive, but it is also inexpensive. The problem with the auger is that it won't go through rock, but when we get to rock, we can use the percussion method and the rock bit from the percussion method to get through that rock so that we can continue. Practically, the limit for that technique is about 100 feet. The next method is the hydraulic rotary rig. Now this is a very smart way of drilling, particularly in areas that are inaccessible to the big rigs that are normally used for drilling wells, particularly in Africa. The hydraulic rig is fast. We can get down to 200 feet. It usually only takes us a day or two, and it is not labor intensive. But it is expensive because we have to carry a lot of equipment. We have to carry a lot of water because we're drilling with mud. That's the technique we use for removing the chips from the well. So it is expensive, but it is used usually in areas which are very dry and where you have to go deep in order to get the water. We've also developed a ram pump. The ram pump is used where there are streams that are below the level where the villagers live. And the ram pump can provide its own energy to pump water up the hill to the village without the use of any electricity. Obviously, this does not have universal application because there are few and far occasions where this circumstance exists, but where it does exist, it's very useful and it can provide clean water at the village level.
Drilling and completing a borehole is not a complete solution to the problem of providing clean water to a village. In some parts of East Africa, the naturally occurring water is highly acidic. It tastes bad and it stains clothes. The solution to this problem is to test the water for iron content and then to make appropriate treatments, such as replacing metal pipes with PVC pipes and installing a simple lime box to reduce the acidity of the water after it has been pumped out of the borehole. The most important element of any well drilling program is the education of the people who will use the wells. After a village has worked together to create their new borehole, their job is only half completed. Now they have to learn to be responsible for maintaining the borehole and for understanding the value of clean water to their community. This is usually accomplished by the creation of a village water committee.
We are standing in Ndaragi, which is near Kigarobia, and we have a well here that where there is a successful well committee that keeps the pump repaired. Even when it breaks, they can collect money to repair the pump because they collect money from each family. The chairman is where?
No, Hanoi.
Hey,
Hey,
how are you?
fine, how are you, sir?
Good,
Yeah,
thank
yeah.
you. And the treasurer is here? The treasurer is here? How are you? Good, thank you. And who else? These are other members of the committee? Chairman? Okay.
Yeah,
And
caretaker.
caretaker? Okay, thank you. And my friend Sunny, who I have worked with for 2 years, and she is the supervisor for the well.
Yeah,
Is that right? Okay.
Siringi vitano kugura chupa emu ya soda.
The well health team assists by creating local language training videos. In this video, a village woman compares the price of a bottle of soda to a jerry can full of water. And a child is taught to drink only clean water. With the aid of a microscope connected to a computer, the well health training team can go into schools. They can take a sample of water from the school's well, and then they can show the children in the school exactly what it is that is swimming around in their water. Children who attend these training sessions are also given a small book to take home with them. The book is written in their local language and describes the cycle of a worm in the water and the way it reaches a child's stomach.
It was surprising to us that in a region that we surveyed, of the 350 wells that were dug by the government contractors, 250 were not working because they were not being maintained. So there are two lessons to be learned from that. Number one is we need to educate the villagers to maintain the well, but the other is that there are abandoned wells out there that we can rehabilitate at a fraction of the cost of drilling a well. And we're talking somewhere in the order of $400, $500, $600, somewhere in that range, to take an abandoned well that hasn't been used for years and make it work again. So what type of people and organizations donate wells in Africa? Well, individuals who want to help, organizations, churches. Rotary International has a program going at the moment where it will match your funds that you raise at your local Rotary in order to provide a well or clean water project.
So for the sake of these children, dig deep into your pockets so we can dig deep into the earth to give clean water to an impoverished world.